Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today we are making this recipe is based on a colonial recipe. And these delightful, they call them biscuits, but they're actually a cross from English muffins and a biscuit recipe. It's almost combined of the two. So we could see that they had this and then somebody separated them. Then we end up with English muffins and then we ended up with biscuits, all right? So it was important that a wife knew how to cook. And this is what a bride would make for her husband to impress him that she was a good cook. Because remember, at that time, he had to grow the food, build the home, and build the furniture. And he had to grow cotton and stuff, so she would also have to weave. They had to make clothes, and the food that he planted and that he hunted and he smoked, she had to be able to preserve throughout the years. And so she had to know how to make her cultures and all, so they would be able to eat. So it was very important that she impressed him with making this recipe. Now remember, this is not the original recipe, but this is based on a colonial recipe, and they're called lighter than air biscuits, and you'll see why as we do it. All right, another point I want to bring up to you is the difference between baking soda and baking powder. Both of them have baking soda in them. All right, baking soda is just plain baking soda. What they did was they took baking soda, added cornstarch, and they added cream of tartar, which is a byproduct of wine making, and then they add aluminum to it. Now, I have been looking up, and it does not state that aluminum is good for the body at all. I'm sorry. I've looked and there's no nutritional value in it, so I'm not sure. And now they're saying it causes the body problems. I can't say any more than that because that's all I can find at this point. So, and the reason they add the aluminum to the baking powder is as soon as you add liquid to it, if you take liquid and add it to baking soda, it starts rising right away, right? Now, if you leave the aluminum out and you just have the cream of tartar, baking soda, and cornstarch, which is baking powder, you'll notice that if it doesn't have the aluminum, it's going to rise as soon as liquid hits it as well. So aluminum seems to be a retarder that slows down the baking soda from when you buy baking powder. The aluminum in the baking powder retards that part of the baking soda till heat hits it. Then when heat hits it, it takes off. So at one time, they didn't have that. Most of the leavening that women had to do was beating by hand. The air was their big leavening, and yeast was their big leavening at that time. That I didn't have a lot of baking sodas and baking powders sitting around for them. So these were their leavenings, and they had to do it a little different. So let's get these started. You will not be sorry with these. These are delicious. I've made them like 7 times. You know, when we have them, it's gone in a very short time. All right, we are going to need 1 package of yeast. Now, if you have a jar of yeast, it's 2 1/4 teaspoons, I think. I always have to read to you, yeah, 2 1/4 teaspoons, all right? So either 1 package or 2 1/4 teaspoons. Depends upon how you buy your yeast. Okay, now we are going to need 1 tablespoon of sugar. And now we're going to need 1/4 of a cup of warm water. And once again, I'll show you how to warm it up. perfect temperature is, remember, wrist temperature. If it doesn't feel cold and it doesn't feel hot, you have it body temperature. That's what the yeast likes. Now you can go slightly over it, whereas there's just a little warmth on it, but you don't want to go too far because you can kill it. And if it's too cold, the yeast will take like forever to grow. All right, so. I have very little water in here. Yeah, I already have it there. I tell you. Now the reason you add the sugar with the yeast and the water, it helps the yeast get going. I know my yeast is young. I just bought it not long ago, so I'm going to start adding everything anyway. But they say to wait until it's foamy, but I know mine's going to do that, so I don't have to worry. All right, now we're going to have to get another bowl. Okay. All right, we are going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour. You know what? I have to go get some. I'll be right back. Okay, as we go back to this. Pack my flour in half-gallon jars because it just fits on my flour canister. In there. Now I'm being stupid. I lost count. Oh my God. Sandy, what is wrong with you? Well, I have my days. People don't like it. You'll get over it, you know. I do have my days. I think there's 3 in here. I don't even know anymore. Now I have to measure it again. Oh well. That's me. I start thinking about things when I'm cooking. Yeah, I did right. Now, why did you let me go through all that? Let's get back to this recipe. We're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Oh, you want the salt mixed? Okay. We are going to need 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And we are going to need 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Let's see what else we're going to need. some wheat tuna in here to make sure. Let's see, how many do I want to put in? I think I'm going to put 2 in this one. 2 tablespoons. Now they want you to mix this up really well. My butter's frozen, so I'm going to grater it, but they want you, they say with a pastry blender, but I know this butter's so hard it's not going to work. They want you to cut the butter into this mixture. I'm going to grater mine in. Some recipes are lighter when you grater the butter, you know, because you get that layer of flaking. But if you go to make a pastry, your own pastry, somebody stole my recipe, so I don't have it anymore. But you take butter, and it's got to be soft. I think it's a whole pound or a pound and a half you use to flour. And what you do is you cut pieces, you lay it in, then you fold it, you roll it out, then you lay more pieces of butter in, fold it a different way. You keep folding and folding and folding and folding different ways, and then when you go to make anything with it, you have that puff pastry. Very interesting how they do it. And somebody was so, they didn't want me to write it down, they didn't want me to make a copy of it, they just took the whole book. I guard my recipe books now. So women didn't use, they used to sit there and look at books, cookbooks and stuff, or crafting books and stuff, and learning how to do it. And they get their little girls crafting very, very early. So my book collection, besides the Bible, is a lot of crafting and a lot of cooking. I bought a book from my husband. He loved that book. In 3 days he read it. He was a Rhodes Scholar. I mean, he was intelligent. And I wanted that book, and I got it for him. 3 days he read that book. I said, did you? He said, I love that book. That was one book. I know how he loved blues and jazz and the big band era. And I'd get albums coming in. The Book of the Month used to have a album club. Once a month they would send you the albums. All right. So your flour should be, I gotta put my glasses back on. Should look crumbly. Okay. All right, you're gonna need 3/4 of a cup of buttermilk. I like buttermilk. flour. And pour the buttermilk in as well. But I'm going to pour it in here first, get the rest of the yeast out. And pour it in. Let's see what they want us to do next. I haven't made this in a while. Okay. All right, they want you to toss it with a fork until a soft dough forms, and then on a floured surface, you are going to knead it until smooth, about a minute, they state. Sometimes it's a little longer, so don't worry about it. And we'll shape it into a ball and let it, and take care of it. Well, I am not using a fork. I'm just going to use what I have here. Because my butter is frozen, I have to work a little harder at this. If your butter is room temperature, it'll come to the ball a little easier. Mine's not. But as I handle it, that butter's going to get really soft. I'll make it really soft dough. See, I've got to get all this together. So this is going to take me a bit, but you're going to need it. Don't worry, it comes together. I'll show you, but let me work it and I'll be right back. You see, the butter's melting as I handle it, and it comes together. As I keep working, it gets softer and softer because the butter. That's how I do it. They want you to put it in a ball. See? Let me get rid of this. You're going to grease a bowl. Come on, slow poke. And remember, because this is not sourdough, you have to cover it. Turn it upside down, make sure it's well greased. And flip it over because you don't want the flour to dry out. And we are going to let this rise. And when it rises, I will be back. Just leave it there. So I'll see you then. Okay, you're going to have to grease a cookie sheet or baking sheet, whichever you have. We have to put some flour on the counter or the work area that you've got. And we have to roll this to 3/4 of an inch thick. You're going to need a 3-inch biscuit cutter. If you don't, you can use, I'm using 2 3/4 because I don't have a 3-inch one. Now, you always see me adding wheat germ to just about everything, or powdered milk, or yeast to it, brewer's yeast. The reason I do this is you don't need a ton of B vitamins at one time, but you need to get them throughout the whole day. So by putting a little bit into each one of them, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that whatever my family eats, they're getting B vitamins constantly. Okay, we're going to play that game. I'll probably need 2 cookie sheets for this. So that's why you see me adding wheat germ all the time, to just make sure that my family, anytime they eat, they always get it. Okay, let me get this, show you what to do with this. You're going to take a fork and you're going to prick them. Put a towel over them and let them rise. if your kitchen is warm, they should rise within 30 minutes, and the second rising should be 45 minutes, but my kitchen is a little cold because there's a lot of rain, so there's a dampness in the air, so mine are taking a little longer to rise. But I'm not concerned about that. It'll make anywhere from 10 to 12. I've made 10. I love doing this part. Because they say, don't you have any leftovers? I do, but I flatten them out to where they look like they're all the same, like I had a perfect cut. When they rise, they won't know the difference. Just to annoy the family. You're a magician. Okay, that's it. Yours might rise faster than mine. Yeah, well, I don't have a real warm place in the house right now because of dampness. Anyway, you have to leave them like that till they rise again. All right, so I'll be back then. Okay, you're going to set your oven to 375. And they are going to cook for 15 to 18 minutes because the biscuits will be a beautiful golden color. All right, and then you're going to transfer into a wire rack and let them cool a bit, and that's it. Okay, it's time to get them out. Okay, just do it in my manner. Here they are. See, these are delicious. Some of the things from that time are so good. Just gotta really try them. I've got to let these cool a bit before they can be tried. But they're very, very light. Even when you're handling them, you can feel just how light they are. So anyway, take care and enjoy your day.